How's everybody doing, and welcome to the fish room. Today's video is going to be another update on tanks number 14, 15, and 16. So I've been doing a tank by tank. I took a little break from it because I've been just uploading other topics. But I'm doing a fish room tour. I have 43 tanks. We're going to go ahead and do 3 10 gallons at a time because they're all in the same row. So let's go take a look at that. I have guppies in all 3 of these tanks, all different colors. Let's go ahead and take a close look at each one of those. I'll talk a little bit about them. But let's go ahead and do that. I'll show you the tanks I've already shown and what's coming up after. But for today's video, it's all 10-gallon rack. Just so you can see what I've already done, and some things have already changed. Over here I have my 55-gallon tanks, 10 gallons, more 55s and 29s. These are all on black wrought iron stands. They're really nice. You can buy those. I always post things in the description, so if you want to check that out, go ahead and check it out. Those are pretty affordable, and you can build them in 3 or 4 minutes, so they're really nice. Then we come over to the wood rack that I built. This is all custom for each size tank. I designed this the way I wanted, so the 40s are in the corner. They bump off the wall a little bit. The 10 gallons go long ways against the wall, and these all have matten sponge filters now, so you can see that's a sponge, and there's a little air coming out of the top, so there's like a backdrop, and I'm really liking them. They're almost a month old now, and they're working really well so far. So I know a month isn't a lot of time, but so far they're working great, and I don't think anything's going to change. And then all these tanks will be to come. I've showed these in other videos. Check out the channel, but those videos will come in the future. And then I have my wall tanks, so you can see all the 43 tanks. But let's go ahead and we'll take a closer look. I'll probably have to hop on a stool for this because the tanks are almost to the roof. So really taking every foot of height I have and utilizing it. But let's go ahead and take a close look. We'll start with this tank. First tank I have here are my fancy guppies. It's kind of a project. All my tanks to kind of help organize things. And this female, since she's up and close, you can see all the color in her tail. So she's got the cobra pattern. She has some blues, so a little spot of yellow. Just a really cool fish. I've been line breeding these for more colorful females. And these are all guppies I bought from Petco probably 2 years ago, and I've just been working on them generation by generation. There are some fry in here, not as many as I'd like, but I can see at least 2 right there. Obviously she had at least 10, and 10 to 20 guppies normally have. They can have many more. I've had 40, 60 guppies in one drop, but she's right there. The male's hiding out somewhere. It's getting a little bit late. My timers are off on my LED strip, which goes across the roof. They're kind of low light, but they're nice to give a little bit of light to the tank. And that's the old filter hanging out there. And then you can see the matten sponge filter running well off my, I believe it's Gemco pump, which I actually need to clean, so I'm gonna do a video on that here coming up. But for the guppies, I like to use the acrylic yarn. There's green acrylic yarn at the bottom. These are just some fake plants off of a tree. I cut them off and kind of recycled those. She looks like she's ready to have some babies again. Her last time she had fry was 113. So it's been about 10 days or so. So I guess she's still got a few more weeks, but she's getting big. So she had a small drop of fry. So maybe she'll have them a little bit early. Who knows? Maybe those are kind of a late birth and they're a larger fry. And I hope we can find the male. I'll go back and show him if I can find him. But we'll go to the next tank. While I'm on this tank, I use these, people have asked me about them in the past. It's a paint Sharpie. So I can mark all my tanks on the fronts, and it's real easy. It takes a second. You can scratch it off with a razor blade. So these are my fancy deltas because the male's got more of a delta tail on this. Project number 1, I moved the pair in on 12/26, and I spotted some fry on 113. Next tank I have is a project I'm working on. These are my purple delta guppies, and this male has a lot more of the color in his side fins, so that's what they call a Dumbo ear. And all of the brothers and sisters weren't really showing this. I had maybe 2 males that had more color coming off their sides, and this is the one I chose. and I bred him with a virgin female that was from a different tank, but the same genetics. So I like to split my fish up into multiple tanks. So I was breeding 2 different tanks of the purple deltas, all originating from the same fish, but it helps spread things out if anything goes wrong and kind of mix the genetics up over time. And you can see these guys have some fry, a lot more in this tank, not tons, and it's kind of hard to see. We're fighting the glare, but same thing with writing on the tanks. I wrote what they are when I added the pair and when I spotted fry. So these fry are relatively young, and I'm pretty happy they're doing well. Give them just crushed flakes. If I have any leftover brine shrimp from my other fry that I feed, more so my German blue rams and angelfish, they really need that live baby brine shrimp, but the guppies will get it too. And I'm excited to see these guys grow up, and hopefully they'll have some of that Dumbo ear just like their father. Same setup with the acrylic yarn. I have some different colors in there, just kind of for fun really, no purpose. And then I have this matted plant. If I move it, maybe there's some fry hanging out in there. And I like these because they'll float if you don't weigh them down. And I put a little flashlight on top so we can see the fish. Hopefully it doesn't fall in the tank, but pretty simple setup. Definitely working well. Get my fry. Just have a pair in there. Sometimes I'll breed trios, pairs. I'll kind of colony breed with like 2 to 3 males and 6 to 9 females. And then it's just kind of hard to know what comes from which. So if you want to mass produce fish, that's nice. If you want to work on a color, I do recommend doing pairs. For the last tank of the update, I have some more purple females. I left 2 in here. I was hoping they'd be pregnant, and I wanted to see how they do without a male. So I had a bunch of them in here, and these look to be pregnant. And I might have to move some things around so we can see them, but I don't spot any fry, and they've been in here for almost a month. So hopefully in the next 10 days or so, we'll get some babies. And if I move things around, I might even spot some fry now, but it doesn't look to be any fry. So I'm hoping they're pregnant. I wanted to kind of let them drop fry without a male chasing them around. They're acting a little skittish because it's later at night. They're probably going to bed. I just turned the lights back on. Some lights were still on in the fish room, but the timers are starting to go off. You can see that one female. They have nice rounded off tails. Sometimes for my purple delta strain, the females kind of get a short stubby tail, and I'm trying to get away from that. So these are 2 of my nicest females I had. The other one's in the back somewhere. And if I get underneath, you can probably see them, but it's gonna be dark because it's gonna block the light. She's down there. If they don't have babies in the next 2 weeks, I'll introduce a male, and then I'll wait for babies from there. Maybe even add the other male Dumbo ear from the tank that I have. Stirred the tank up a little bit, hoping I could push all the plants to the bottom or the yarn to the bottom to see them. This female seems to be swimming around a lot more, and I will update whenever they drop some fry. But I just wanted to show off these 3 tanks. I want to continue the 43 tank series. I have a tank down here at Plecos I'm really excited to show, but I don't want to skip any tanks. I want to really go through the whole fish room, give you a tour. Some tanks will be more exciting than others, but I really am enjoying this pair especially because that male looks really cool. And anytime you have fry and you have a decent amount of them, whether it's 10 or 60, any amount of fry, especially when you get like double digits, which I know it's not that hard, they're just guppies, but sometimes the parents always eat the fry. There's not enough hiding places, so this yarn's really been helping me out. And since there's no males chasing these females, and there's a decent amount of hiding places, there's some old spun filters floating, whatever they do drop, I'm pretty confident that they'll all make it, so I'm not gonna have 40 babies and lose 20 of them to parents and other fish in the tank eating them. And the other female seems to be coming out with her. I know we're fighting the glare, but that'll about wrap it up for these 3 tanks. Just some more updates in the fish room, things I plan on doing. These angelfish here, I showed in old videos. They spawned and I have the eggs. They're all starting to hatch out, so I have some wigglers. I'll show you those. I don't want to make a video strictly for them, but they were in a glass jar, and I did a water change on them. I added them to this little white bowl today. So all those fry there. They're wiggling around. They have some fungus eggs. I siphoned some out. But just waiting for these guys to go free swimming. I'll show more of these later. So here's some free swimming German blue rams. They're doing well. I'm real big into the German blue rams. It's kind of what started my interest along with the guppies, but the rams are the first more challenging fish I ever bred. So here's the angelfish. They're probably easier than the rams and they have a lot more babies. But those are pretty cool. And I have one pleco tank, which will probably be my next video. I'll give kind of a quick sneak peek. Is this tank down here. And I'm breeding, these are some of those purple deltas. You can see it's kind of a colony breeding setup. A lot less organized. You get a lot more different ages of guppies, and not as many fry make it, but you have just so many females dropping fry. You're still going to get a lot of babies that make it. But as for the plecos, there's one of the females hanging outside. I do these clay pots and I drill a hole in the side, or I just break a hole in the side and I put a lid on it. That's like what holds the pots typically, but I use it as a lid. There's one of the baby longfins. They're pretty cool. And I have a male longfin pleco in here. He likes to hide a lot, but last time I was cleaning, he came out and he's gotten a lot bigger. So I'm going to do a video on how big he got and kind of a update on that pleco, because he is pretty cool. He's an impressive size and a cool genetic of the, what do they go, I don't know, like coloration or fin of the bristlenose plecos. Drawing a blank on the right type of word to use for that, but I think you guys get the idea. So that video will be coming out maybe even tomorrow. Thank you everyone for watching, just stopping by to the fish room. Hope you guys enjoy this update. Nothing crazy going on over here, but I do want to just kind of stay updated with my videos. I want to show you what's going on, what fish I have, what's coming out. Please, if you're not subscribed to the channel, go below, subscribe. You can hit the notification bell and you'll know when I upload videos. So if this video is for you, you like the updates, some cool stuff's going to happen along in the future. You'll see when that happens. If you're not a big fan of stuff like this, I do post a lot of different type of videos in the fish room. So stay tuned for that kind of stuff. But I'll wrap this video up right here. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.